I'm your alumni keynote speaker who frankly embodies the spirit of service. Valentina is a recipient of the IE Fellowship. She graduated with her MBA in 2018, and I know she won't tell you this, so I'll tell you on her behalf, but she was recognized as one of IE's top 50 leaders reinventing the world quite recently. Few people can lay claim to such an incredibly diverse career. Whether it's by geographic region, Valentina's career spans EMEA, APAC, the Americas, having lived in 11 different countries. Or whether it's in terms of the various big names she's worked with as a marketing and strategy powerhouse, including P&G, L'Oreal, AB InBev, and Swarovski. Valentina is truly an international leader, not unwilling to make some bold moves when it comes to her career. After more than a decade of success in FMCG, she recently pivoted to tech to apply her leadership skills at Cornerstone On Demand. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome one of the most uniquely positioned alumni who you can learn from so that you can really embark on a beautiful start of your career here at IE. Someone for you to learn from, Valentina Llinas.
Thank you, Zane. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way. He nods and says, "Morning, boys. How's the water?" The two young fish swim on before one looks over at the other and goes, what is water?" Now, if you're worried I plan to present myself here today as the wise old fish, please don't be. I am not the wise old fish. The point of this story is simply, we need to be aware of the environment we're in and the opportunities it presents. You are starting a year that will deeply change your life. And I'm lucky to be standing here, ready to share how mine changed when I did the MBA in 2018. Because I am the alumni representative today, that is the voice I can speak with. So I wanted to offer 5 pieces of advice that I wish someone had shared with me when I first walked into this room, so perhaps I could have more clearly seen the water. Number 1, leave your expectations and biases at the door. As part of an oil and gas expat family who moved across 11 countries on 4 continents like UAE and Argentina, I was convinced I knew diversity. I was wrong. At IE, diversity is the program. It is a classmate who makes you question something you thought was obvious. It is finding yourself at a dinner table of 7 accents and realizing you are the one struggling to keep up. It is debating politics or religion with someone who genuinely wants to learn. That kind of diversity doesn't just reshape your worldview. It reveals what you thought was true, but simply is not so. The truth is, we all arrive here carrying an invisible suitcase, stuffed with ideas of what success looks like, which industries are shiny, whose voices carry weight, as well as subtle biases about cultures, belief system, job titles, or even passports. This year gives you the rarest chance to unpack that suitcase, to throw all of it out, to discover that the person you nearly overlooked might end up teaching you something that changes how you see the world. I came into my MBA year certain that my circle would be small and familiar for a corporate Colombian like me, my type of people. Instead, my closest friends turned out to be a doctor from Kuwait, a consultant from Austria, and an entrepreneur from Guatemala, 3 countries I had never even visited. And that's the pattern here. This program will almost certainly refuse to go the way you imagined. You will think you are headed into tech and fall for social impact. You will dread a class that ends up lighting you up. And yes, there will be days you feel lost in the middle of it all. That's the deal. A quick personal story. My husband, who also did the MBA with me, arrived at the program certain that he would always be an entrepreneur. He had spent 6 years bootstrapping restaurants and had never set foot in the corporate world. At IE, he ticked all the startup boxes. He even won Startup Lab. And then realized, nope, this isn't for me. He ended up joining Burger King's MBA leadership program in Switzerland instead. Cue day 1 of corporate life. He calls me from the bathroom, whispering in panic, "Valentina, What is Outlook? Bobby just told me to put time on his agenda, and I don't know what that means. True story, 6 years of running his own show, and not once had he used Outlook. And that's exactly the point. The MBA has a way of steering you into rooms you never imagined, teaching you whole new languages, even the mysterious dialect of corporate calendars. Or take Rafael, the investment banker from Geneva. He arrived in a three-piece suit, swore he'd never marry, and declared he wasn't there to meet girls, but rather focus on his investment banking career. 1 month later, he was head over heels for the beautiful, bright Lebanese girl sitting next to him in class. Today they are very married, have children, run their own company in northern Spain, and go surfing at lunchtime. What helped me the most was loosening my grip on the story I thought I was writing and paying attention to what was actually unfolding around me, releasing not just the biases I carried about people, but also the plans I thought were set in stone. Number 2, stay fluid. There's something very special about the beginning, this beginning. In the first weeks, everything feels wide open. Conversations flow easily, you're curious about everyone, you try things without overthinking, you float between groups. The experience is fluid. But then, almost without noticing, things start to solidify. You find your routine, your people, your favorite study spot, comfort sneaks in, and curiosity fades. It's natural, but I encourage you to resist it. Stay fluid for as long as you can. That's where the richness lives, and the unexpected collaborations, the unlikely friendships that form later on in the program. Here's one simple habit you can use. Be a yes person. Expand your luck surface area. Say yes to the random lunch, the club you know nothing about, the project that feels like a stretch. Every door you walk through multiplies the odds of stumbling into something or someone that can change everything. One method I used to stay fluid, I made a list of all 300 students in my cohort and promised myself at least one meaningful conversation with as many as possible. I didn't want bias or habit to close me off from people I might never have discovered otherwise. The network you build here won't just be about jobs. It will be about the moments you shared before you had fancy titles to hide behind. And the truth is, the quality of your network will mirror the quality of your openness. So stay fluid, drift a little, and let things surprise you. Number 3, you will feel inadequate. Don't compare yourself. At some point, probably sooner than you'd like, you'll look around and think, how am I even in the same room as everyone here? At IE, no matter how unique or accomplished you thought your story was, you will meet someone who speaks more languages, has lived in more countries, runs faster, is better at math, somehow shows up to every party, and still excels in class. Can someone please tell me, what are these people made of? In our class alone, we had someone who climbed Kilimanjaro, someone who worked at NASA, someone who ran multiple NGOs, a couple PhDs. Their stories were inspiring and also very intimidating. But what's equally true is every single person here is vulnerable. Everyone will at some point feel loneliness, anxiety, self-doubt, or the very real ache of being far from home. Yes, your peers might be future founders, CEOs, and industry leaders, but more importantly, they are people. People who bring you groceries when you're sick, people who will sit next to you when you're overwhelmed, who will say, you've got this, and actually mean it long after the MBA year is over. And you will do the same. You will find some of your deepest relationships in this room. Surrounded by top talent, it is tempting to measure yourself against everyone. But the truth is, no two paths here are the same. It's so diverse that you are rarely chasing the same finish line. When comparison creeps in, don't feed it. Save your energy for connecting. Benchmark only against the person that just walked through these doors. How are you growing? How are you showing up? What are you learning about yourself? And once you stop trying to keep up, something better happens. Your classmates stop being competition and start becoming something much closer to family. Number 4, test hypotheses. One of the most underrated gifts of this program is that it gives you space not just to learn, but to experiment, to try things on, to see what fits in a moment that's almost frozen in time. Nobody is looking, and you don't have to put it on your CV. Treat it like a lab where you are the experiment. Go wild. What if I'm more creative than I think? Can I lead without being the loudest voice? What if I actually try starting a startup? What if I experiment with a more assertive persona? I ran a bold experiment myself. Could I pivot from consumer goods into media? I had a degree in industrial engineering plus 8 years of marketing experience at Procter & Gamble and L'Oreal, but dreamed every day of working at Condé Nast and writing for a living. So I joined IE's Ideas magazine and then interned at Condé Nast Madrid. After a few months, I realized I loved writing as a hobby, but not as a job. The experiment failed, but it came at virtually no cost. Shortly after, I joined Swarovski's global marketing strategy team in Zurich and loved every moment, without a single what if lingering in my mind. Had I waited until graduation, the cost of trying would have been much higher. Here you have the freedom to test anything with minimal risk. But this is the key. You can't run experiments if you're afraid to fail. So try the things you think you're unqualified for. Speak up, even when unsure. Apply for the internship you see that seems out of reach. You don't have to be certain, you just have to be curious. Some of the most impressive people I have met here aren't those with the strongest opinions, but the ones who stay open to changing them. So this year, run your experiments, and even if you fail, you will have succeeded. And the last one, number 5, play the long game, but start now. It's easy to think of the MBA as a one-year sprint, but in reality, this is a launchpad for the next 10, 15, 20 years of your life. After graduating, my husband and I moved to Zurich, each starting new jobs. A few years later, in peak COVID, we decided to venture to Singapore. Somehow, against all odds, we both quickly found work there in completely different fields. Then, a couple of years later, we moved back to Madrid, where I recently attempted the tricky switch from FMCG to tech. Every jump was very tough, but possible because the IE community was there opening doors we didn't even know existed. Because of that network, we have attended weddings in places we never imagined, traveled to corners of the world we had only dreamed of, and discovered opportunities we could not have planned. But it wasn't all daisies and butterflies. There were times of hopeless unemployment, overwhelming doubt, grief, and loneliness. But the IE community was always there to lend a hand, and we've come out the other end every single time. So play the long game, use this year intentionally, with your time and with your energy. What feels small today, that lunch conversation, the side project you almost skipped, the handshake that seemed meaningless just now, may shape the next decade of your life. Start now. As David Foster Wallace once said, this is water. This is water. As you leave here today and dive in, remember the fish, notice the water, this moment, this room, this chance. Start now and let the ripples of this year shape the next decades of your life in ways you can't yet imagine. Thank you and welcome to IE.